Hello, welcome to my channel, Wildlandy Creations. My name is Wendy, and today we'll learn how to make this butterfly using peyote stitch. Once you have learned how to make this butterfly, you can turn it into earrings, a necklace, or bracelet. While we'll be focusing on this pattern in this tutorial, I do have a PDF file on Etsy that you can download, which contains all 4 of the butterfly designs. So the one we'll be learning in this tutorial, as well as these other 3 designs. With the PDF file, you'll be able to make all 4 designs by following along this tutorial. For example, let's say we are on step 3, and instead of these bead colors, you will refer to step 3 of the pattern that you want to make and put in those bead colors instead. First, let's start by going over the different types of beads. There is seed beads and delicate beads. This one here is a size 8 seed bead. You can see it's curved on the ends. And then there is delicate beads. This one here is a size 10 delicate bead. You can see it's more like a tube form and it's not curved on the sides. And then there's also size 11 versus size 10 and size 8. There's also size 15 and bigger sizes. So this is a size 11. So the size 10 is slightly bigger than the size 11. And I don't have size 8 delicate beads, but I'll show you the size 8 seed bead. You can see here the size 8 is a lot bigger than those 2. My butterfly here, I use size 10 delicate beads because I like how the 10 is bigger and it's easier on my eyes. It's also thicker. Your butterfly ends up being thicker. And then this heart here, it's made with size 11 seed beads. I know they're not the same, a small heart versus a butterfly, but you can see the difference in the bead sizes. Also, when you look at it from the side, the heart is a lot thinner than this butterfly. I know most people like to use size 11 because if you imagine, if we use a size 11 for this butterfly, to make the same size butterfly, we'll end up with more columns and more rows, meaning there can be a lot more details to this butterfly. You can add more color, you can add more, like details to this butterfly to make it more beautiful. So I think that's why people prefer to use size 11. But again, for me, I prefer the 10 because it's easier on my eyes. I'm not straining my eyes when doing this. It's also easier to grip and so forth. It's also better to use delicate beads because the beads fit nicely together like a puzzle. They just fall into place. But when I didn't have delicate beads and I tried using seed beads, it still fits together, but it's more wobbly and there's just some gaps between the beads because it's curved on the sides. So they don't fit together like a puzzle like the delicate beads. So I would recommend delicate bead. If you want to use size 11 for a smaller butterfly or size 8 for a bigger butterfly, that's up to you. Here I am using size 10 seed bead. Using the size 10 seed bead, the butterfly is almost 1.5 inches wide, about 1 inch long. Needle wise, I am using a big eye needle. What that means is it's hollow in the middle of the needle. You can see. Okay, so it's not like a typical needle where you put the thread at the tip. You can put the thread through anywhere here, which makes it a lot easier because it's such a big hole, right? And also it's very flexible. So when you're weaving the thread through the beads, it makes it a lot easier than using a stiff needle. At least for myself, I like that it's flexible. And also these needles are not expensive, so I just go in there and I don't really care if it's bent. As you can see, it's not really straight anymore. What I also like about these needles is that the ends are straight, so when you accidentally poke yourself, it doesn't actually hurt. Like you can see here, it doesn't hurt at all. I've used pointy big eye needles before and I just kept poking myself and start bleeding, but these are flat on the side, so I really like that too. And for this, we will need 2, and I'm using 1 long, 1 short, and you'll see why I do that later. For thread, I am using the Miyuki brand beading thread. It's 100% nylon, and we're going to need about 4 feet 10 inches of thread. The delicate beads, I am using Miyuki brand delicate beads, size 10, as I mentioned earlier. In this tutorial, we will make this butterfly together. But as I mentioned earlier, I have a PDF file on Etsy where I have all 4 of these patterns in one file that you can download. So you can follow those patterns and make the butterfly along with this tutorial. For example, the PDF file will have the steps like this where you see step 1. In this tutorial, for step 1, we'll use purple, blue, and gold beads. But let's say you want to make the flower butterfly instead. You would just refer to the flower butterfly steps in that PDF file, and we place the bead colors based on that template. But you can still follow along the process with this tutorial. Okay, we'll start by putting the thread through the needle. Again, I have about 5 feet of thread. I'm putting one side of the thread through this needle, which is the shorter needle. And then I'm going to put the other side of the thread through this longer needle. These are big eye needles where you can open up easily like this and just place the thread through this way. And the reason why I have one long, one short is because if you look at my pattern here, I have a top row and a bottom row. So I'm going to think of it as the shorter needle would be the top row and the longer needle would be the bottom row, so that I know what bead colors to add to each of these needles. So let's start with this step 1 here, where we are going to add a purple bead to both of our needles. To add a purple and a purple through both needles, and then we're going to put it through like this. And then this next one, where you only see one bead, that means we are putting one bead through both needles. So we're going to combine the needles like this, and then we'll put a purple through it, through both, like this. So the purple, this purple now goes through both threads at the same time. I'll just bring it to the end so you can see what we just did here. So it looks like this, which is what I have here in the pattern. Let's make sure you can see it. Our next column is gold and purple. Gold with the shorter needle because it's the top, and purple with the longer needle because it's the bottom. Then we'll put it through, and then we're going to add a blue to both needles. And now we are doing blue on top, gold on the bottom. Gold on the bottom, like this. So I'm just going along with this, right? Blue, gold, and then we're going to do blue for both. Blue through both needles. And then gold, blue. Gold with the shorter one, and blue with the longer one. Gold through both needles. Go through both needles. After that is gold on top, blue on the bottom. Gold on top, blue on the bottom. And then blue through both. And now blue on top, gold on the bottom. So blue on top, shorter needle, gold on the bottom, longer needle. And then blue through both again. And then gold on top, purple on the bottom. We're going to do a gold through the shorter needle, purple through the longer needle. Purple through both needles. And then our last column here in step 1 is 2 purples. So both top and bottom are purple. All right, so let's slide them through and see how it looks. Let's slide them all the way. It's gonna look like this. So what you have to do is kind of maneuver the beads a little bit, push them in. So right now, here, let me show you. Right now, they're not in place yet. But once you help them get into place, it will look exactly like the pattern. All right. So here, this is how first 2 rows look like, or how it looks like after our step 1. See the purples? I don't know if you can see. All right, so like the purple are blue waves and then the purple at the end. Okay. Now, how do we get to this next row so that we can start adding? So I'm taking the thread that is coming out of the top row and I'm putting that needle through this first bead here on the bottom row to bring the thread this way so I can start adding beads. Okay, let me just do that. So I'm just turning it. All right, so you see that? I brought this thread from the top bead and brought it through the second bead coming out this way. I'm going to do the same with this bottom thread, which has the longer needle, and then I'm going to put it through this top bead here to bring this thread facing this way, like this. So now both threads are facing the beads again so that I can start adding beads between these gaps here. Okay, and we are actually not going to work with the top thread for a while. Actually, here, let me show you. So the way I've created this pattern, the wings on the top are wider than the bottom. And so I have step 1, and then we add row by row. And as you can see, I am building the bottom of the butterfly first. In fact, eventually I kind of focus on one side because that way we're not having to bring the thread back and forth. So I focus on one side first. Once I complete this side, I then bring the thread over and complete this side. And then this, we complete the bottom of the butterfly. Once we complete the bottom of the butterfly, we can start, we can use the other thread and start building the top of the butterfly. A couple rows on top, and then we will focus on one side again so that we don't have to bring the thread back and forth between the wings. Once we complete the right side of the wing, then we will complete the left side of the wing, just like how we did the bottom of the butterfly, and eventually we will be finished like this. So now we are going to add a bead to the top thread so that it wouldn't be moving around while we work on the bottom of the butterfly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my thread from the needle, and then I'm going to put the thread through a bead. So, like this. And then I'm going to put it through the bead one more time. Like this. See that? So the thread is going through the bead. And then I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring all the way down. In the beginning of the project, it is a little bit harder because the threads are a lot longer and there isn't a lot of beads, so it's a little bit wobbly. But once you've gone a couple rows down, then it will become a lot easier. All right, so I have brought my stopper bead all the way to my delicate beads. So now I'm just going to pull the string, tighten the string so that the bead kind of stays here. And then I'm going to actually do it one more time to kind of lock it in more. Okay, so I'm putting my thread through one more time. Just basically going 2 circles around this bead. All right, so now we are ready to start adding beads to the bottom side. And don't worry about how these 2 beads look right now. As you start adding beads, it will start to look just like our picture. All right, so this bottom one, you're going to go back this way. So it's going to be purple, blue, blue, gold, blue, blue, purple. But since it's a butterfly and I made both sides identical, you know, it doesn't matter how you're looking at my instructions. Even if you add purple and this way, it's the same as going this way. You see how there is these gaps between these beads here, so that's where we'll be adding those colors. So first one is adding a purple. We have a purple here, and we're going to take this needle and put it through this next bead that is right here. All right, like this. We pull it tight, and then it fits perfectly between these two beads here. That's the purple. So next is blue right here. Okay, so our thread is coming out this purple. I'm going to take the blue and put it through the gold that is next to it. And then tighten our thread in here. Okay, and then next we're going to add another blue. Put it through this bead here. This. So we're going to just keep adding the colors until we fill up these gaps. Let's do this on our own. We're going to add a gold, blue, blue, purple. And I'll show you when we get to the purple. So gold, blue, blue. Okay, and now we're ready to add the purple. And you see how there's only one gap left here, so we're going to put the needle through this purple, this last purple here, and we're going to add this purple. We have the purple, blue, blue, gold, blue, blue, purple. Step 3, we go back this way. We're going to add a gold, 6 blues, and then a gold. The thread is coming out of this side purple here. We're going to grab a gold and put it through this first purple bead that we see here. And now it looks like what we did earlier, right? We're just going to add blues through these gaps here, and then we'll get to the last one and I'll show you how to add the gold. So just let's add the blues quickly, and then I will show you how to add the gold. When we add this last blue, before adding the gold, this is what we're going to do. So we'll grab the blue, and then when we put it through this purple here, we're actually going to put it through this other purple. So 2 purples at the same time. All right, to get our thread to the side of the butterfly. So we're going to add this like this. So we're going to add a gold like this. And then we're going to come back by going through this bead here. All right. So that completes this row. We want the thread to actually be coming out of this gold like this, so that we can start adding beads for our 4th row here. We're going to take the needle and put it through this bead that is next to this one where the thread is coming out of. And we're going to put it through both of these purple beads. You see that? So coming out of here, and I'm going back through this way. I'm just pulling that all the way here. You see? Now you don't even see the thread coming out of that at all. All right, so now that the thread is coming out of this purple here next to the gold, we can just take the needle and put it through the gold like this. Okay, and bring the thread back this way. We're ready to add beads between each of these gaps again. Okay, so that brings us to step 4. And again, doesn't matter which way you're looking at the pattern, and it doesn't matter which butterfly you're making, because both sides of the butterfly are identical. So it doesn't matter which way you're looking at the pattern. So step 4, we just added the gold. Step 4, we're going to add 3 blues, 1 gold, and then 3 blue. And again, we'll do this quickly. In fact, let's finish the row until we get to the last one, and we'll meet there, because these next steps are the same, right? We just take a blue, and then we put it through the needle through the next bead that is sticking out. we'll add the roll on our own, and then we'll meet at the end. So make sure you add 3 blues here, a gold here, and 3 blues after that. If you are making a different butterfly, just make sure that you're on step 4 and you're putting in the colors based on the template you're looking at. So we just added the blue here, the last blue on our step 4. This next blue that we add actually goes here. It doesn't go after the gold, it goes between these 2 blues. That's what we are adding next. If you don't mind your threads showing, you could just go like this. Put your needle through. And this is not what we're going to do, but I just want to show you that if you don't mind your thread showing like this, you see your thread here. If you don't mind your thread showing, then you could simply just bring a thread through like this and then start adding your beads this way. But since I don't want my thread showing, what I'm going to do, okay, so again, going back to this where our thread is coming out of the gold, since I don't want my thread showing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my thread, I'm going to do some weaving to get my thread to come out of this blue. Right now it's coming out of the gold. I'm going to put it through the purple that's right next to the gold, like this. Put it to this top bead that is here. Thread was coming out of the gold, and what I just did was I put the needle through these 2 purple beads diagonally like this to bring my thread to come out of this one here. I'm going to now put it through this bead, which is next to where the thread is coming from. I'm going to put it through this bead like this to bring my thread this way. And now I'm going to come back this way and put it through the blue. We're ready to add step 5, and it's all blue. We're adding a total of 6 blues. So let's add your blues and then we'll meet at the end again. I'm adding my last blue on this row, or 6th blue. They're here. This. And now our thread is coming out of this blue right here. And if you look at step 6, there's nothing special we need to do here. We don't need to weave the thread because we're actually going to add the purple right on top of the blue where the thread is coming out of. So that's very easy. We're just going to grab the purple and then we'll put it through like this. And that already brings our thread to this new row where we can start adding colors again. So step 6, we're going to add these colors. We added the purple, we're going to add blue, 3 golds, blue, and then purple. We'll add these middle colors on our own and then we'll meet at the purple. Okay, so I'm adding my last blue before I add the purple. So I have the blue here on my needle, and then we're going to put this needle through both of these blues. We're not putting it through the gold, but we're putting it through both of these blues right here, like this diagonally. Now we can simply add the purple coming back this way, like this, right? So our thread is coming out of this blue here at the end, and then we added the purple and we're coming back to this blue up here. So now the thread is coming out this blue. We're gonna do a little bit weaving to get the thread to come out of the purple, just like what we did earlier. Here, the thread is coming out of this blue. I took my needle and placed it through the bead that is right next to where the thread is coming out of, and then putting it through 2 beads like this diagonally, so that my thread can be coming out from the side again, like this. And now I can easily bring it back through the purple and start adding my colors this way. Step 7. So again, refer to whatever template you're using for your butterfly and refer to step 7. and add the colors accordingly. So here we are adding purple, blue, 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 purple. We'll add the first one together. So add a purple. Go through this next bead here. And now we're just going to add the blues, and then we'll meet again when we get to the end. Okay, so I am ready to add my purple. And if you look at the next step, fortunately nothing too complicated this time. We're going to add our purple, and then we'll just come right back and add another purple. We don't need to do any weaving. Do this last gap on this row, put it the end bead. Now we can start with step 8, grab another purple and come right back. Step 8 here, purple. And then we come right back like this. And then we can start adding beads this way. We added the first purple. We're going to add a purple, blue, gold, blue. And here I just added my row, and I'm ready to add the last 2 purples. So let's, these last 2 purples here. So let's grab a purple. Okay. My thread is coming out from here. And I'm going to run this needle through both beads, just like we did earlier. Okay, both of these beads, like this. Thread is coming out like this. We're going to take our needle and put it through this one here. Okay, with this purple here. And this completes this row right here. The next step is we will be adding purple in this, between these 2 gaps. So we're going to do that weaving like what we've did and bring the thread back facing this way. So we have this thread coming out of here. We're taking the needle, putting it through those 2 beads like that. And now that it's coming out of the second bead, we're ready to put it through the first bead to bring it back this way facing our butterfly so that we can add again. For step 9, we're going to add a purple, blue, gold, gold, blue, purple. Okay, so add these colors yourself, and then we'll add the last bead together. Okay, so my thread is coming out of here. I'm going to add the purple like this. And then we're going to move down to step 10. You can see here the purples are on the sides. So we'll just flip this around, add a purple like we did before. The thread coming out of here. And we just put the needle through here, like this. Just like that, we're ready to add beads to the rest of this row. Make sure you add a purple, blue, blue. When we get to here, I'll show you what we do to go from this side to this side to add the rest. Okay, so let's actually do this row together. We added the purple, I'm gonna add the blue, like this. Another blue. Okay, for all those other columns, we would just add a bead and keep going. But this one, this is where the butterfly, the 2 sides start to split. So here, our thread is coming out of the gold. Instead of adding a bead here, we're just going to actually put it through this gold that is diagonal to this bead. Bring a thread through this one. And now our thread is on this side. And we're going to bring this thread through this top gold as well. We just went from this bead to this bead through this bead, and now we are ready to add the colors again. So we're going to add blue, blue, purple. So blue, something fancy here, something complicated. You see, we're going to increase basically our columns. We're going to have to add 2 gold on the side. So let me show you that. We're going to add our last purple from the previous step 10, and then we're going to add the 2 golds first before we start adding these beads. We have our thread coming out of here, so I'm going to put it through this bead this way, right, and then add the last purple from step 10. Last purple, And then we're going to add it and come back this way, just like what we did with the previous rows. So now my thread is back this way. And usually, right, we would weave it this way and come back and then start adding. But this time we're going to weave it out so that we can add those two golds. The thread is coming out of here right now. I'm going to, again, just like usual, put the needle next to the bead that's right next to it. But instead of going through this bead and that bead, I'm going to go through this bead and this other bead. So here, I'm doing it diagonally this way. Normally it's diagonally this way, but now I'm doing it this way. So I'm going to bring my thread out. And I'll show you where the thread is coming out of in a second. Alright, so I brought my thread out and you can see here, my thread is coming out of the third bead from the end. So this is the third bead. Okay, and this is where we're going to start adding these two golds. So make sure your thread is coming out of this third bead here. We're going to add two gold beads. We're going to skip the middle bead and put the thread through this bottom bead. So the thread was coming out of the third bead. I added two gold, and now I'm putting it back this way through the bottom bead, skipping the middle one. Okay. And it looks like this for now. We're going to make it more perfect looking. What we're going to do now is take the needle and put it through that middle bead that we skipped earlier. Okay, so we have the third bead here and the bottom bead here, and we're putting it right through the middle one, back this way towards the gold beads. Okay, so now coming back out this way towards the gold beads, we're going to put the needle through one of the gold beads this way. So this is like the brick stitch right now. We've been using peyote stitch, but now this is basically the brick stitch. So we come out this way, and then I'm going to put it through the other gold. Like this. Other gold like this. And then put my needle back through the middle bead again. Again, this is like the brick stitch. Okay, so here. And now when I pull it tight, okay, you see how they just sit nicely like this? Everything's tight. Okay, it just sits nicely like that, the two gold. Alright, hopefully that wasn't too hard to follow. It's hard to show with small beads like this. But we'll do it again on this side, or you can rewind the video and watch. I did that again. The next part of step 11, after we added the two gold, we want to bring the thread back through this way to add the blue. So this is the part that is kind of similar to what we've been doing. The thread is coming out of this bead, so we're just going to take it and go diagonally like this. Alright, like this. Bring it back through this other gold and purple up here, so diagonally, like this. And now we're ready to add the beads and then add the two golds on this side. So let's just flip it here. And we'll add this together, okay? Blue, blue. Okay, and you see this, there's a gold here, that's straight. So this is kind of like what we did earlier with the other end. So we just added two blues. Our thread is here, we're gonna put it through this gold here. Put it through this gold here like this. And add this gold, and we're going to come back this way. Okay, so here, let me make sure you can see. Okay, so a thread's coming out up there, and then we're adding a gold and coming back this way. All right. And now we're gonna bring our thread to the other side and add these same colors this way. Our thread is coming out this blue, so I'm just gonna put the thread through these two blues, like this diagonally. I'm gonna put it through the second gold here on this column, the second gold, and the blue, like this diagonally. Okay, so now my thread is coming out this blue, which is right next to the bottom gold. So I'm gonna bring my thread back out this way so that I can start adding again. So here. So now that I've got my thread to this side, I can add the gold, blue, blue, and then I can add those two golds. Gold, blue, blue, and now I'm gonna add two golds after this blue. Okay, so I have my thread coming out of this first purple here, or the bottom purple, if you want to think of it that way. On the other side, I brought my thread out to third bead. Here we are okay with starting from here. The thread coming out the bottom bead. We're going to add our two golds, and then we're going to put it through the third bead, so it will still kind of look like what we did on the other side. Two gold, and then we're going to skip the middle bead and put it through the third one like this. All right, this is how it should look like. And then when you first do it, the beads just sit like this where it doesn't look good. So now we are going to use sprig stitch to straighten up those two beads. Okay, so with our thread coming back in through the third bead, we're going to put the thread or the needle through the middle bead like this. We're going to put it through this bead like this. And then we're going to bring the thread back in through this other gold bead that we added. And through the middle bead, middle purple bead again. So once we've done that, and when you pull and tighten the threads, both bead is now straightened up. Okay, so that completes our step 11. We've added the gold beads on each side and the ones in the middle. So starting with step 12, we're going to work on one side only, so that we don't have to do all that back and forth between the middle. We're going to focus on one side, and then we'll bring it to the other side. All right, so for step 12, we're going to add two golds, a blue, and another gold. We're going to start by adding this gold first. Here from step 11, after we added these two gold, our thread is coming out this way from the middle purple. So we'll just bring it back out this gold right here so that we can start adding the other gold. So we'll just put it through this purple here, like this. Okay. Putting it through purple and gold at the same time. Pull it. And now our thread is coming out from the side again. Then we can go through the purple. Since our thread is already coming out from here, I'm just going to put it through the blue. Like this. And I'm going to add the blue and gold first before I worry about adding the other gold over there. Go through here. Gold. And go through here. So from here, we'll just bring our thread back to this blue so we can add the last gold on this row. Go to the gold right next to it, put it through like this so that the thread is facing back towards the butterfly again. And then I'm just going to go diagonal like this. Do all 3 of these blue beads. Okay, that diagonal through all 3 blue beads. Now I can come out of this blue bead again and add my last gold on this row. Gold. And that completes step 12. Step 13 is very simple. We're just adding 2 gold. There are 2 gaps after step 12, so we will just add 2 golds here. We're not going to bring the thread this way because then the thread will be showing. So we'll go backward and try to come back out through this gold so we can start adding the gold. So our thread was coming out from here. I'm putting my needle through the bead that is right next to where the thread is coming out of, going diagonal through 2 beads. This. And then I'm going to bring it back out this way. Going diagonal to these 2 beads to bring the thread back out this way. So that I can now go through these 2 this way. And add my 2 gold beads for step 13. Go through the first bead here, or go through this middle blue bead here. Grab another gold and go through here. So for step 14, we are just adding 1 gold bead and then we'll be done with this bottom side of the butterfly. Now our thread is coming out of here from our previous step, but we need to get it back to this part to add our gold bead. It's gonna come out this way. And then I'm gonna bring it back through the bead that's right next to where the thread is coming out of. And then I'm just gonna go like all the way out to here so that I can bring the thread back this way and add my bead. So we start by going through 2 beads diagonally this way. Alright, so here I am going through these 3 beads. The thread is coming out this blue, which is right next to this gold here, and I can just bring it right back through like this. And add my last gold. Right through. Alright, so that completes this bottom part of the right side of the butterfly. Technically, right, this is done, but let's say you want to make the butterfly and hang something underneath it for an earring or whatever design you're doing. You want to hang something from this bottom bead here, let's say. If that's the case, then we would run the thread through a few times so that, or at least one more time, so that you have at least 2 threads going through here to make it sturdier for you to hang things. Right now, the way this is, there's only 1 thread going through this bead. So let's run it through one more time so that you could hang something here if you need to. Okay, so my thread is coming out of this second bead right next to the bottom bead, the one right next to it. I'm going to put it through one more. This one, like this. The thread's coming out of here and I'm putting it through 3 blue beads. This bead right here. And now I can just bring it right back like this. Okay, so here I'm just bringing it right back like this. And now I have the thread running through this very bottom bead twice. And I'm going to just bring my thread over to this side so I can start finishing this bottom side. It's gonna go one more. And then I'm going to bring it down one row so that I can go diagonally and then come back this way. And then this way so that I can now, here I was able to get it through 4 beads at once. So now it's coming all the way through 4 beads, going through this gold, and I'll be on this side of the butterfly. Alright, so there we are. It's on this side of the butterfly now. Next step, step 15, we are going to add a gold, blue gold, and gold. Get the thread to go through this gold here to be able to add a gold to this gap, blue, gold, gold. So here we got the thread coming out of the gold, so we'll go half step up and bring it through this blue. And now we can go to the bead next to it and bring it back out this way. I'm just doing zigzags here. And then bring it through this way one more time. Alright, so now we have the thread coming out this way, and we can add our gold, blue, gold, gold. Gold. And then when we add this blue in, we'll just go all the way through 3 beads here. So that our thread is now all the way on the side of this butterfly, and I can add my gold this way. I grab a gold and I put it through the purple, and then bring the thread back in this way. Alright, and now I'm gonna bring my thread back out so that I can bring it in and add another gold on top. The thread is coming out of the bottom purple. I brought my needle to the purple that's right next to it, and then going through both the purple and the gold so that it's all the way out. And now I can just go to the bead right next to it, bring it back in, facing the butterfly again, and add my last gold on this row. The thread through this way. So this completes step 15, where we added 2 golds, a blue and a gold. Step 16, we're adding the 2 golds. So these few steps are pretty much the same as what we did on the right hand side. We're just repeating on the left hand side. Since we already have the thread coming out from this blue here, we'll just put the needle through to the top blue. So basically having our thread go diagonal like this. And then we can add a gold. Alright, so we added the gold. With the thread coming out this bead here, we can just put our needle through this side and go all the way diagonal to the top blue and add a gold right here in the gap. Right? I'm gonna grab a gold and put it through this way. Now we're done with step 16. Step 17 is adding the very last bead here on the bottom. Alright, so I'm trying to get the thread to the right place to add the last bead. I'm putting the needle through the bead that's right next to where the thread is coming out of, through 2 beads at the same time diagonally. Here, and bring the needle through these 2 beads this way. Like this. So that I can just bring my needle next to this gold here. My last gold. like this. And as I mentioned earlier, we want to run the threads through this bottom bead twice so that if you wanted to hang something here, you can because it's sturdy. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to just run my thread around, zigzag a little bit to get it back here and run it through this bead one more time. You can refer to the previous part where I showed you how to do that, and we'll meet once we are done putting the thread through this bead one more time. I just ran my thread through this bead one more time, and now I'm ready to finish off the bottom and cut off any extra threads before I move on to step 18 and work on the top of my butterfly. So with peyote stitch, you don't need to tie any knots before cutting off the thread. What we're going to do is run the thread through these beads, zigzagging a few times, and then we can cut it off. And the thread, it will not get undone by itself. In fact, now that I've already ran my thread through this bead twice, if you try to pull on it, the thread doesn't really get loosened. So here we're just gonna zigzag randomly, and I'll show you how to cut it off. Okay, so I have my thread coming out of this bead last because I ran it through this bead one more time. I'm going to bring it all the way through these 3 beads here, out. Then I'm going to come in this way. Okay, so you don't have to do the exact same zigzag as I am. Just let your needle take you where it wants to take you. So I'm just bringing through 2 beads here. I'm going from one bead to another diagonally. Do one more. And then I'm going to come back out this way. Okay. Bead right next to it. So I'm bringing the thread back facing outward. And then I'm actually now bringing it back in facing inward. Just going through the bead right next to it. Like this. Bead next to it. And go through 2 more beads. So kind of taking the thread diagonally. Now my thread is facing outward and I can cut it off. So what I like to do is just wrap the thread around my finger so that I know I'm pulling on the thread as tight as possible when I cut it off. That way there's no extra thread sticking out. Alright, so now you can't really see where I cut off the thread. And this side is pretty tight because I've zigzagged the thread. Trust me, I tried to undo the zigzags like intentionally and it was impossible. So I think as long as you do it this way, it will be very unlikely for your thread to get undone and the beads falling off. This is pretty sturdy like this. Okay, so that brings us to step 18 where we will start adding the top. And that brings us to this other thread that we've kind of haven't touched in a while. So before we start step 18, of course, we want to take this bead off so that we can work with this thread. So you just push it in, force the bead, and you see how it becomes loose like this. And then you can pull on it. Alright, so we'll put this thread through a needle and start working from the top. Our pattern calls for a purple, blue, blue. Then we'll bring it to the other side and add blue, blue, purple. Yeah, it doesn't matter if the bead looks a little funky right now. Once we start adding the beads, it will straighten up. We grab the purple. We'll go through the gold here. And use your hand. Fix it a little bit. Alright, so everything is straight. Even that side purple is straight now. We added the purple and we're going to add blue, blue, 2 blues. Blue. I'm just putting it through this next one, filling in the gaps. Filling in the gaps like what we've been doing. Like this. Okay, purple, blue, blue. Now we will just bring the thread through this gold, these 2 golds like this. Basically forming a V. Alright, now our thread is on the other side. We'll add in blue, blue, purple. So I'll meet you after we add the purple. For step 19, we're going to add a purple on top of the side and then add blue, blue, gold, gold, blue, blue, purple. Grab a purple and then just put it right back this way. And that brings our thread back in this way where we can add the 2 blues. Blue. So when we add the second blue, what I'm going to do is I will put my needle through both of this blue and gold beads so that I can bring it back and add the gold this way. Right, so blue and gold bead. Grab the gold and then I put it through this blue right here. Now my thread is this way, facing this way. I have to bring my thread to this side so I can add the same beads on this side. I'm putting my needle through 2 beads at the same time. My thread is coming out of this blue and I'm just putting my needle through the gold that's right next to it. And there are 2 beads like this diagonally. My thread is coming out of the second bead in this column. So I can easily bring the thread back out this way. So that I can add the gold. Okay, so I'm going to add the gold, blue, blue, and then we'll add the purple together. My thread's here now. I'm adding a gold. Just like the other side, when I add this last blue, I am going to go through 2 beads. And add a purple on the top. So that completes step 19. So starting with step 20, we are going to work on one side again. So you can see here, we're going to just keep adding on one side until we complete the side. And then we'll go to the other side and repeat those steps. Okay, so step 20, we have to add 2 purple. Our thread is already close to the side, so I'm going to start by adding the 2 purples before I start adding the beads on the top. So here, if you recall what we did on the bottom, what we're going to do is, okay, with the thread coming out this way, we'll put it through the bead right next to it. Skip this bead. We're going to go through this way diagonally because we want the thread to be coming out from the 3rd bead. So our thread is coming out from the 3rd bead, and that's how we can add 2 beads between these 3 beads. We have 2 purple beads, and we'll put it back through the very top bead, skipping the middle one. So we have our beads like this, where they look curved. So what we're going to do now is bring our needle through the middle bead now, like this. And then we'll run the needle, okay, on to the bottom of one of the beads, bring it up. And then we'll go to the other bead that we just added, like this. Again, this is sprig stitch. Go through here, and then we're going to bring it back through the middle bead. So this is what we're doing. middle bead. Okay, I'm just pulling tight on the strings, and you see here, now they sit nicely. So we start to add the blue, blue, yellow on step 20. I'm just going to I'm going to bring my thread back out and come back in. That way it kind of reinforces the beads that we just added to. So here. I will bring it back in this way. Black, blue, blue, gold. Blue. Step 21. Okay, so we have gold, blue, purple, purple. The thread is coming out this way. I'm gonna go through 2 like this. And then I'm going to go through 1 bead like this, bead right next to it, just zigzagging again. All right. And now zigzag back this way, like this. And back this way, so that I can add my beads here. And add my gold. When I add this blue, I'm gonna go all the way down like this, diagonally, all the way out. We'll go all the way out like this, so that I can add a purple and come back in. Alright, so I'm gonna go this way now. I'm gonna thread back out this way, facing the gap, so I can add the last purple. Do like this. Okay, so I added my last purple on step 21. Step 22, I have to add a purple on the very side, and then a purple in the middle, and a gold. With my thread coming out this, I can just add a purple. Add the gold. All right, so that completes step 22. 23, so we'll add a golden purple on the top, but we have to add a golden purple on the side as well. After we added the gold, my thread is here, so let's bring it all the way to the end to add the side golden purple. So I went through 3 diagonal beads. Then bring it out diagonally this way so that it comes out from the 3rd bead. All right, and now we can add the 2 beads here. Purple, and then gold. And now we can go through the top bead, just like what we've done a couple times now. Go through the top bead. Run the needle through the middle bead, like this. Go through the bottom of this, the bead on the right side. Go from top down on the other bead, and then back through the middle bead here. So for step 23, after adding the sides, we also have to add the purple and the gold on top. String is here. I'm just going to run it back out so that I can put the threads through the beads one more time and reinforce it. bring it back in so that I can add the purple. Step 24, so we're adding 2 golds on top and then another gold on the side. I'm just going to bring my thread all the way to the end, coming out from this gold so that I can add the gold on top and then the 2 beads in the middle. I went 2 beads diagonal this way. Bring the thread all the way out through the gold so that we can just add a gold on top. We'll add a gold, go through both of these. Add another gold. Now we want to come back this way so we can add the gold through this gap as well. With this gap right here. So always go down to a bead next to where the thread is coming out of. Go to the next bead. And then we can go this way diagonally. This way. Step 25. Okay, so step 25, we are going to add one more gold bead this way. So with our thread coming out, this step will be easy. We grab a gold, come back in. And then another gold. Step 26 is the last step on this side of the butterfly. We will add one more gold between those gaps and then we add 2 here. I'm going to bring my thread back out this way facing the side through the 3rd bead, add 2 golds and then add the last gold between the gaps. Again, wherever the thread is coming out of, we will go to the bead that is next to it. Like this. Going through 2 beads this way. And then now I can put it through this 3rd gold here. Like before with the thread coming out of the 3rd bead on the side, we will bring our needle back through the top bead, come back in like this to add those 2 golds. Now we go through the middle with this. And bring the needle and thread back through that 2nd middle bead here. Okay. Alright, so now we're done adding those 2. And we'll bring our thread out this way so we can add the top. Putting my needle through these 2 purples right next to it. Like this. Coming out of this purple, I would just bring it back through the top like this. So just like the bottom, I will run my thread through this top bead one more time so that I can hang things from the butterfly without worrying about the thread breaking. So our thread is coming out from here. I'm just gonna go one more out. That way we can reinforce this side too. I have my thread going through this bead one more time. Now we will work our magic and bring it all the way to the other side so we can do the same thing on this side. So steps 27, we will work on the left hand side and we will start by adding the gold on top. So let's get our thread all the way from this side to this side, coming out from here so that we can go back in and add this gold. here. I'm going to bring it back, go diagonal all the way through to this side. Okay, so I've gone from there and went diagonal through all of these beads and came out of this gold here. This is the second gold in the middle. Now I would just put it through the blue that's right next to it and slightly above. Zigzagging again. Come right back in and start adding my beads to this side. Blue, blue, and then I'm going to add 2 purples on the side. My thread is coming out of the top bead, which is fine. I'm going to add 2 purple and then come back in through the third bead, skipping the middle one. Come right back in, and now I will go through the middle one to straighten those beads. So go through the middle one, and then go through one of the beads I just added from bottom to top. Go to the bead next to it, and then top to bottom to come back in, and then my thread through that second middle bead right here. Straighten it, and we are good. Step 28, we have to add a purple on the top here, and then before we add another purple there, blue and gold. All right, so our thread is coming out from here. Go through these 2 purple like this, so that we can easily add the purple like this. We're going to add a blue and gold. And don't forget, we still have to add our purple, 1 more purple here in this gap for this step. Okay, like this. And then we're going to go diagonally through all 3 of these blue beads back up that way, like this. Then we can add the last purple on this row. Now step 29. We have to add another purple on the side, and then put purple and gold in the middle. So we'll come right back in with that purple. Add another purple. And then a gold. Step 30. So we're going to add a gold here, a purple here, and then we have to add a gold and purple on the side. Bring my thread all the way to the end, add the gold and purple, and then add the top ones. Put my needle through diagonally until I bring it out from the third bead here. We have to add purple, gold, and then come back through the very top bead, skipping the middle one. You've done this so many times that this is a piece of cake now. So we'll go through the middle bead, and then one of these beads from bottom to top. The one next to it, top to bottom, and then do the middle bead to come back in. So now I'm just going to take my thread back out to reinforce these beads we just added, and then bring it right back in to add our beads to these two gaps. Right, so right back in, add a purple between these two gaps, and grab a gold through here. That completes step 30. We're almost done. Step 31 is just adding 3 golds. Add a gold here, and a gold here. I'm going to bring it out again to add my beads. This. Go through these two to come out from this gold so that you can easily add a gold on top. We'll add a gold on top and come back through both of these purple ones. Now we can add the gold and gold in these two gaps. Gold. Right here. Last gold. Right. Okay. Step 31 complete. Step 32, we're going to add 2 golds. Okay, so we're going to add a gold here and a gold on the gap. Step 33, our very last step. We made it to the last step. So here we are going to add 2 golds on the side and a gold on the top. So just gold on this gap here and then 2 golds on the side. So let's bring the thread out to the side and add those 2 golds before we add the gold on top. So just like usual, wherever the thread is coming out of, we want to go to the bead next to it and put the needle through to come back in this way or to face the other way. And then we're gonna run it through 2 more here. We just want to bring our needle back out this way through the 3rd bead. We added 2 beads, and now we'll come back in through the top bead. Then do a brick stitch, which is bring the needle through the middle bead here. Bottom to top on one of the beads, and then top to bottom on the other one, back through the middle bead. All right, so that completes this one here. So let's just run through one more time and add our top bead. That completes step 33, which is our very last step. And now I will just run my needle and thread around to go through this bead one more time so I can hang things on it. And then once I've done that, I'm going to zigzag a few times, bring it out, and cut off extra thread. So I ran my thread through this top bead one more time. Now I will just zigzag and cut off. Make sure your string is as tight as possible before cutting it off. Next, I will show you how to make a jump ring and connect it to the butterfly so that you can turn it into a charm, bracelet, earring, or necklace. We'll use a round nose plier and 22 gauge wire. Place your wire on a round nose plier and start turning it in circles. I like to make my jump rings small, so I place the wire on almost the top of the round nose plier. I am making a couple of jump rings, so I'm turning it a few times, forming a couple circles. Now we'll cut each layer of the wire using a wire cutter so that we have the jump rings that we just formed. Take one of the jump rings we just made, open it up, and put it through the top bead of the butterfly. You can connect a chain to the jump ring before closing it or just close it here. If you want to see a tutorial on how to turn these butterflies into earrings, necklace, or bracelet, or even a charm, let me know in the comments and I will make a part 2. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I know it was super long. Hopefully it was easy to follow and that you found it helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.